Sean "Diddy" Combs once stood as a symbol of success, swagger, and unstoppable ambition. He was the man who could walk into any room and make the air change. The name alone carried power, a brand that stretched across music, fashion, liquor, television, and culture. But on one cold morning in Manhattan, the empire cracked. Inside a packed courtroom, the cameras clicked like distant gunfire as the mogul who once declared, "Can't stop, won't stop," sat silent, his head bowed. In that moment, the untouchable became human. The gavel fell, the judge spoke, and Sean Combs was sentenced to 50 months in federal prison for 2 prostitution-related convictions. For the first time in decades, Diddy wasn't the one in control. His shoulders slumped, his voice broke as he called his behavior disgusting, shameful, and sick. The courtroom fell silent. Reporters scribbled, families watched, and the man who once filled stadiums now stared at the floor. It wasn't just a legal sentence, it was a cultural earthquake. The fall of a music empire that once defined an entire generation. But to understand how it came to this, we have to go back to the beginning. Before the headlines. Before the scandal. Before the darkness swallowed the light. Sean Combs was born in Harlem, New York, where survival wasn't a choice, it was a rhythm. He started as an intern at Uptown Records, running errands, watching, learning. Ambition pulsed through him like a heartbeat. By his mid-20s, he had founded Bad Boy Records and changed hip-hop forever. The notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, Maze, he built stars from the ground up. His style mixed business with art, power with flash. He became a symbol of what the American dream could look like when remixed with hustle. By the 2000s, Diddy wasn't just making music, he was shaping culture. He launched the Sean John fashion line, made millions from Ciroc vodka, and built Revolt TV into a voice for hip-hop media. He wasn't just rich, he was royalty. The man who threw million-dollar parties, rubbed shoulders with presidents, and dated superstars. But behind the scenes, another story was unfolding, one that few dared to speak aloud. There were whispers. Rumors that stretched back decades. Tales of temper, control, and moments that blurred the line between charisma and cruelty. People said Diddy liked to dominate every room, every deal, every person around him. To the public, he was a genius. To those close to him, he could be terrifying. Over time, the rumors became harder to ignore. The music industry has a way of protecting its giants, until it doesn't. As early as the 2000s, former employees spoke quietly about uncomfortable experiences, explosive moods, and nights that ended in silence and fear. But nobody could touch him. His name was too powerful. His reach too long. And then came Cassie Ventura, a name that changed everything. Cassie wasn't just Diddy's artist, she was his partner, his muse, his mirror. When she filed a lawsuit in 2023 alleging years of abuse, coercion, and control, the entertainment world froze. The case settled within 24 hours, but the silence that followed was deafening. If even half of what she said was true, it painted a picture of a man addicted to control. Soon, other voices followed. Former associates, unnamed sources, and online commentators began piecing together stories that sounded eerily alike. The term freak-offs started trending, secretive, choreographed encounters Diddy allegedly orchestrated, involving drugs, women, and absolute submission. For years, they were industry legend, the kind of stories whispered behind closed doors but never confirmed. Now, they were evidence. The world started connecting dots. Fans asked, how could the man who preached positivity and self-love also be at the center of such darkness? But for Diddy, the truth was already closing in. In September 2024, the fantasy finally broke. Federal agents swarmed his Los Angeles and Miami mansions in simultaneous raids. The images hit the internet like wildfire: armed officers, flashing lights, luxury cars parked outside gates once reserved for the elite. The footage went viral within minutes. People couldn't believe it. The man who built his image on untouchability was now surrounded by FBI agents. The charges were serious: transportation to engage in prostitution, possible trafficking connections, and federal exploitation investigations. The whispers had become federal warrants. Overnight, Diddy went from mogul to defendant. His lawyers called it a witch hunt. Fans cried setup. But prosecutors said the evidence spoke for itself. When the judge denied him bail, reality finally hit. The empire was cracking. Online, memes and think pieces flooded timelines. Some defended him, arguing that fame made him a target. Others said this was the justice long overdue. And as days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Diddy sat in a cell, for the first time, powerless. His trial would decide not just his freedom but his legacy.